We have our format. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alfons Schwarte. I represent the German Federal Association of Small Medium Enterprises, and we do open the doors for the Maltese companies for the German market, and vice versa, also for companies from Austria, Germany, Switzerland for the Maltese market. And if you have any questions regarding the market entry, do not hesitate to contact us. We are very helpful here, and we can give you all necessary information. And right now, in our format that we have a LinkedIn Live, we are going to introduce companies from Malta to the German market, and we would like to have now Mr. Richard Geres here from the Maltese health and sports industry. Hello, Richard.
Hello, Alfons. Thank you for having me. It's nice to
Thank
be
you.
online.
Thank you for joining.
And be
It's
in
really
touch with German and Austrian and an international audience.
Yes, I hope so. So you have been now for over 30 years, you told me before, in Malta. Is that right?
Yeah, it's actually approaching 40 years. So I came here first in 1976. And the reason I came here was that my father opened a production plant for a German spectacle company in Malta.
Yes.
So they had quite a large operation going on here, and that brought me to Malta, and I spent some years here. And then I went back to Austria again, and I studied engineering.
Yes.
Worked there for a few years, and finally I came back in 1989, and I have been here ever since. So,
Okay. Uh-huh. And what how did you so you ended up in Malta, but what makes you then happen to do the health and fitness industry?
well, okay, as a youngster, I was a competitive tennis player, and my tennis coach got me into strength training to make
Yes.
me more fit for tennis, and it became such a passion of mine that eventually I changed my career from engineering to sports and fitness, and opened
Okay.
my first health club in 1994. I ran that for 10 years, and then eventually I decided to offer a more personalized service to people, because I would see from my experience in the health club that many people were not achieving any results. So I decided I would like to form a company where we basically coach people on a one-to-one basis and offer them a better and a more personalized service.
Okay. Okay. Very good. So I see in the background, I see some very nice images. There's one, I think, Ralf Müller. Can you tell a little story about how ended Ralf Müller in your office?
Okay, so in 1999, they filmed the movie Gladiator in Malta.
All right.
With Russell Crowe and all the crew. And at the time in my health club, I was taking care of most of the crew, actually. So many of the actors came and trained at our gym, and Ralf Müller was one of them. And then they invited me on the set. So I spent a few days on the set. I appeared in a couple of little clips in the movie. So that was a lovely experience.
So you trained Ralf Müller. Is that right?
Well, he came to our gym. I didn't train him myself, but he came to our gym and he used the facilities sometimes. And Russell Crowe came a couple of times. So it was a
Very
nice
good. Very good.
experience. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Why are you doing this personal training? Is there a passion in you where you say, listen, I would like to help people, or what is your intention?
Yeah. So like I said, basically, my first motivation was that people go to gyms and health clubs very often. They just don't see results. They're just not knowledgeable enough, or they don't have enough self-drive to push themselves hard enough to achieve, the results that they initially wanted. And secondly, the health club population mostly is very young. So people who work in health clubs are typically between 18 and 30 years old. Whereas people over the age of 35 and 40, those people who've been married and have been busy, building their business and working, they don't feel confident to enter a gym, with lots of young people posing and, feeling good about themselves. So I saw that there was a niche basically that needed to be addressed for business people, people in the 30s, 40s, people who haven't been active for a long time, that they need support and guidance how to get their health back in shape.
So if I would come to your sports studio, how does it work, the program?
Okay, so basically clients come to us with expectations.
You're looking for example, for your clients, are they're older than 30, they're up to 40, 50, 60, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, generally we can work with any clients, but mostly, I mean, those clients who need us the most are the ones who have been out of action for a long time, who have been inactive for a long time, who've gained weight over the years, maybe in their mid 40s and that maybe even in their 50s. They start developing some issues with their back, with their knees, because they've been inactive for so long. They spend too much time sitting down. They have postural problems. So weight problems, especially. So these are problems that we address.
All right.
And the thing is, being inactive and being fit has an effect on your health. So if you don't exercise, you start to gain weight, you start to get weaker. It starts affecting your what we call cardiovascular risk factors. So it can happen that your cholesterol increases, your blood sugar increases, your blood pressure increases, your waist circumference increases. And then there's a fifth factor, which is triglycerides, so the amount of fat you have in your blood. And basically, there is a condition that's called metabolic syndrome, which is basically a cluster of these cardiovascular risk factors. And anyone who has at least 3 of those 5 risk factors is classified as having metabolic syndrome. And in an adult population over 40, probably 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4 people are diagnosed with metabolic syndrome. So, we don't take health as serious as we should sometimes, and we take action towards our health when something has already happened. So the idea is to be proactive and prevent these things from happening by keeping the body in shape and being physically fit.
So, but regarding a program, do you have, let's say, if somebody would like to come to you, and do you measure the weight, you have blood pressure, or you're doing those things?
Yeah, when our clients start off with us, we assess everything. So basically, depending on what goals they have, we carry out certain assessments. Now, many people come and they would like to lose weight. So the first thing we do, we have this 3D scanner, basically, which people stand on this machine. It rotates 360 degrees. It creates a 3D model of the body. It takes all the measurements automatically. And then that allows us to compare the progress month by month and see how the body changes. So weight is not the only factor by which we measure progress. More importantly, actually, it's changes in measurements, in circumference measurements, especially the waist, because the waist is the biggest risk factor for health. So rather than just judging how many kilos you lost, we would like to see how much your waist has reduced, how your body shape has changed over time. That is one of the parameters we measure. We measure also body composition, so how much fat you have versus how much muscle mass you have. And then for certain fitness goals, so if people would like to have more endurance, not to get out of breath when they walk up the stairs, we can do certain endurance tests on a treadmill or on a bike. This can be done for a beginner, and it can be done for a more advanced athlete, for example. So we have these kinds of measurements that we put everybody through. And if people have risk factors, for example, like blood pressure, we monitor the blood pressure as well, and we usually see a nice decrease in blood pressure as people lose weight, and especially as their waist circumference decreases.
Okay. What would you suggest for a person who is over 40? What should he do? And let's say he's not trained at all, and he would come to you. What would you give him as a recommendation?
Well, look, the human body is built from movement, and the body is like a machine, and it needs to move. And unfortunately, many people over the age of 35 to 40 become very sedentary, and that movement is neglected. And that has health consequences in the long term. Okay, so our goal is to get people moving, and at least to the minimum requirements to keep people healthy. So we have a set program that includes all aspects of fitness. So it includes basically endurance, some strength, some flexibility. And if people attend long enough, we can really improve those parameters that will have a knock-on effect on how healthy they are, how energetic they feel. It has positive effects on their mood, how the ability to deal with stress, and it provides a general well-being to the client. So actually, one of the first benefits that people tell us about is not how much weight they lost or how fit they're getting. It's basically how much better they're feeling. So they sleep better, they feel generally better, they're eating better, and that makes them feel better as well. So these are all knock-on effects that you get from being physically active.
Yes, I do understand. And I think a lot of people out there would also, they need to touch their own nose and say, listen, I need to do something. Yeah. No, it's.
I think the big value we can provide is that we provide this supervision, that people are never left alone. So our training programs are basically on a one-to-one basis. So number one, it helps you to be regular because you know that you have an appointment. So you're going to make sure that you come to your appointment, just like you would go to a dentist or to a doctor. You know that you have your weekly 2-3 appointments with your trainer. So that makes you be more regular in the gym. And then the fact that we assess clients and we set goals for them, and we do promote adherence to the program, and we check every now and again how they're getting on. It makes them more likely to eat better as well. So the chances for success are much, much higher by being supervised and trying to do something on your own.
Yeah. Do you provide also, let's say, nutrition plan or?
Yeah, I'm a qualified nutritionist myself, so I'm registered with the Malta Council for professions for complementary medicine. So we tackle nutrition a little bit different than many nutritionists do, because we focus basically on identifying lifestyle flaws. So people get into a routine normally of eating the same way long term, and it can happen that you develop 1 or 2 bad habits over time, which you keep repeating, and those bad habits over time may cause you to gain weight. So rather than changing a person's diet completely and putting them on some kind of strict plan, which is very difficult to adhere to, we have a discussion with them about what their daily routine looks like, and then we can identify where the problem lies.
Okay.
And then we can practice changing the habits of those 1 or 2 problems that they have, and introduce a better routine. And they do that regularly, and it becomes more automatic. And once you do something automatically, it is much easier to stick to in the long term. So the focus is more on behavior change rather than following some kind of strict diet. So our goal is not for people to lose drastic weight. Our problem is our goal is to help people lose weight gradually and then keep it off in the long term. Because it doesn't count how much weight you lose on our program. What counts is how much weight you're able to keep off afterwards. Because if you lose 10 kilos and you regain them afterwards, you have achieved 0.
Yeah,
so we would rather you lose 5 kilos and then keep them off.
And your success with you and your team and your company, I saw an article in Times of Malta regarding, it was on the internet, that you and your company won an award.
Yes, we did. Yes, we recently won an award at the Malta Health Awards for Best Personal Training Facility and for Best Nutrition and Development Program. So we're very proud of that, because we've spent a lot of time and many years basically trying to perfect our operation and to systemize the whole process. So we're a team of 11 people. And for me, from the very beginning, one of my imperatives was that to have all trainers basically operate on the same guidelines and operate in the same system and teach matters or teach fitness in the same way that their colleagues would. Because when we have one trainer sick or on leave and another trainer has to take over, we want to make sure that there's continuity, and the program continues in the same way that the first trainer would have assigned it. So we've created a software for that. We spend a lot of money on software development. We track everything. So all the workouts that we do, we track them. Our trainers plan the workouts in advance. So just in case they're not available, another trainer can take over. He has got all the information available. And like that, we can offer a very systemized service.
Very good. And congratulations to that award. I was quite impressed when I saw that. Very good.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard, for having us here in the interview. And next week, unfortunately, we cannot provide any new partner because I'm on travel routine. But the week after, we will be back with a new interview partner. Thank you very much for everybody, and thanks again to you. I wish you all a very nice weekend. Stay safe, and we see each other very soon, hopefully again.
Thanks for having me, and a good day to everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.